Once again, I'm so glad that I initiated this podcast, and people like Suchi and Wendy were willing to jump on board and encourage me to do a couple of conversations. And I didn't think this would go anywhere. And once again, I'm doing it simply for selfish reasons, reasons that will help me to probably develop myself and give me an opportunity to grow and learn as I discuss my well-being and hopefully be able to share strategies I put in place so that other people can benefit. Now, as you understand that there is this aging process, and we go through this aging process, and we have to be mindful what we do with our lives and how we initiate or put in place certain activities. I think it's very essential that as we progress in age, we are one with nature and we understand our surroundings. We take that walk to the park. We go down to the beach. We wake up maybe at 5 a.m. and take that drive. Maybe outside the city where we can experience a bit of quiet and calm. There's nothing wrong with meditation. There's nothing wrong with religion as well. So walking into a temple or a mosque or a church or a synagogue and actually being quiet and reflecting on your day, reflecting on your actions, reflecting on your life, which is so essential in order for us to be able to collect our thoughts and collect our ideas. And it also, what it does for us is it helps us with a bit of innovation, creativity, which is so essential in our lives, because I think as we progress in age, we sometimes tend to settle, and I don't think settling is what we need to do. I think we need to be able to reinvent ourselves. We need to be able to find opportunities where we can explore more of life and do more things with our skills and abilities. We work 9 to 5 or 8 to 4 or 10 p.m. to 2 a.m. in the morning, and then we come back home, and then there's chores and preparation for meals. We don't get the opportunity to go explore other facets of our lives, and that's the reason why I tend to encourage a lot of individuals, a lot of people who come into my life, especially youngsters, to go explore music, explore theater. I think for me, theater does it. Theater is therapy. I tend to lose myself where stage is concerned. I tend to gain a lot as well. I get to meet phenomenal creative people who are so devoted to the craft, and you can actually see the appeal, and you can actually sense their ability to actually make their craft work and explore and get better at at what they do. Now, theater and stage and acting helps you to escape your mundane sort of life, and it helps you to explore other parts of your character, helps you to understand other characters, and what it does is it mentally helps you to stimulate. It's actually quite physical as well. So when you participate in theater, and when you are part of stage, and part of this world of creativity, you are physically and emotionally, mentally, you are evolving. And it's like, as I said, similar to parenting, it is like a gym workout. You are exercising, you are on the move, you are using strategies, and you're putting things in place so you can understand yourself, understand the character, understand your surroundings, understand the script a lot better. It's quite multifaceted, multi-dimensional, in several ways. So for me, theater is my escape, and it also teaches me quite a lot. It's a lesson, and it's sort of on a regular and daily basis. When you do immerse yourself into theater, you are learning, and you are learning, historically. You are learning about authors and writers and singers and where they come from and why they do what they do and why they create the way they create, their inspirations, for example, their life. And what you then do is you take certain aspects of their lives and you understand those aspects and see what they've put in place, and therefore you better what you do, and you understand your life better. Now, in my previous podcast or episode, I discussed about speech impediment, and what I have personally is I have put certain things in place or certain activities in place that helps me to understand how I can manipulate my speech, manipulate the words I use, so there is more clarity in how I sound. Now, when I was quite young, I used to stutter and stammer, and I still do on occasions when I get nervous. And that's the reason why I sort of tend to get a bit nervous around other actors, and I will pull away, and I will sometimes get quite isolated within a group of actors because my insecurities surface. So anyway, that put aside. So when I used to have major issues where speech was concerned, I used to practice the vowels. So I would go A, E, I, O, U, but then I would go A, E, I, O, U, and I would extend each vowel depending on how comfortable I was, and I would do this over and over again for at least 35 minutes, 45 minutes, extended to an hour. And this was my daily routine. So before going to school, for example, or before going into a class, I would practice the vowels. I would go A, E, I, O, U, A, E, I, O, U. And sometimes I would go quicker and faster, or sometimes I would slow it down and extend each vowel, and make sure I created a rhythm. I created a momentum. I would change my tone as well. So I would go low, I would go high, and you have to play with that. And if you do that constantly, what happens is if you've noticed a youngster or a child or even an adult with a speech disorder, you can practice this with them. Now, it worked for me. Not one shoe doesn't fit all. And also I think consistency matters. And the reason why you're doing it matters. While growing up in school, kids can get really harsh and aggressive, and that was a motivation and a drive in itself for me to push myself to better my speech. I was not able to elocute, so I loved elocution. I loved performance, and I would love to see other kids perform on stage, etc. And for the earlier years in my life, I wasn't able to do so, and I wasn't able to do so because I don't know whether teachers were trying to protect me from the embarrassment, or just they were simply mean, or teachers had, there were so many kids that they were looking after. One kid with a speech impediment, who cares a fuck, and I think at the early stages of my growing up, I was always put aside in school because of the speech impediment, and surprisingly, that sort of motivated me and gave me the encouragement as an adult to pursue my love for theatre. And so when I moved I had done a bit of theatre work in India whilst growing up in school as well. I used to be in the choir, and I used to sing. I used to sing in church as well, which was quite helpful. Everybody knocks, not everybody, people knock religion. But for me, religion was an escape. I would walk into a church when there would be not a soul, and I would sit at the back of the church, and I would simply meditate or go into my own world. I would reflect on my own life, or I would ask for forgiveness for the things I was not able to do, or the things I haven't done sufficiently or adequately, and that sort of I think in hindsight helped me to realize certain aspects of my life. And as I've grown up and become a man, and obviously experiences and life has its way of throwing obstacles at you. As I've gotten older, I make this extra effort to being a better human being, to practice kindness, simply because there was a part of my life where because of certain individuals and certain things that occurred, I became quite reckless. I became quite mean. I became quite selfish, which actually ate into a lot of my being. And so I decided to pull myself away from those individuals, to pull myself away from those environments, and to start reflecting again. And as an older man, I do that quite religiously. I make sure that the environments I'm in are quite progressive, are quite kind, are quite productive. Money is not everything, but money does help, and therefore staying employed does help, or reinventing yourself does help. I've gone back to university, and I'm studying psychology, or attempting to study psychology and human behavior. And what that is doing for me is giving me more of an insight into how we need to prepare our lives. Why do we need to wake up early in the morning? Why do we need to go for that walk? Why do we need to eat healthy? And that in itself helps me to understand and progress. And so I encourage people who are of my age, who are aging, who are getting on in life. I encourage you to reinvent yourselves. Go back to university. Go back to studying. Take up theater. Take up singing. Take up dance. Learn a musical instrument. Paint, write, do whatever you possibly can to stay relevant, to understand life. But I would request you is don't settle. You are not required to settle. Always explore. And to those people who unfortunately have disabilities, you yourselves understand certain obstacles, but I would encourage you to do exactly that, to reinvent yourselves and try to look beyond those obstacles that are present in your life. And every day is not going to be the same, and some days are going to be worse than others. Some days are going to be better than others. And those days that are not as kind are those days that you need to sit down and reflect and prepare yourself for the days that are better. So when you're able to run, you run faster, or when you're able to walk, you walk faster. So that's my 2 cents or 5 cents, and I hope these podcasts or these episodes I try to make it as personal as I possibly can, so that people who are facing obstacles similar to me can get to learn, can get to motivate themselves. If it is money and material that you're after, go for it, but make sure that you do it well. Make sure that you do it with a kind heart, and it's never too late. It's never too late. So anyway, I wish you all the best. Be well. I wish your families well, your friends well, and don't forget to take time out away from the noise. Take care. Bye bye.